Today, I want to discuss about the challenge I faced that fundamentally reshaped the way I think about quantitative finance. It started during my internship experience at EMI Fund Management, where I realized that even a technically correct data-driven model can fail in practice if it ignores the economic fundamentals behind the data. At EMI, I was responsible for conducting research on sectors that were completely unfamiliar to me. My father works in international trade, but despite being exposed to the business environment early on, industries including industrial manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and logistics supply chains were all outside my comfort zone. Unfortunately, these were exactly the sectors my fund manager asked me to cover and write reports on. Coming from a traditional quantitative perspective, my first instinct was to use data analytics. I built statistical screens, processed a large dataset, and generated the signals based purely on numerical patterns. However, I soon realized a deeper issue. Models built on data and correlations were theoretically sound, but they could go wrong in real-world investment decisions because they failed to incorporate the fundamental understanding of the businesses behind the data. For example, the stock rating of a pharmaceutical company will be undervalued because its revenue is dependent on a one-off licensing arrangement that wouldn't repeat. Another industrial company's price fluctuations were prone to be wrongly interpreted due to its unique inventory cycle work mode. Thanks to my auditing internship at Ernst & Young, I quickly understood that my quantitative model was incomplete. The data could tell me what was happening, but without truly understanding the company's operations, I could not explain those data correctly. The complex policy and management under the data, behind the data, which caused the estimation disconnection, became the biggest challenge I had to overcome. If I want to truly build an actual model, I needed to go beyond the data. I needed to consider supply chain operations, financial statements, business cycles, and risk exposures from the inside. This idea prompted me to take a completely different step. Instead of looking for solutions on models, I started adjusting the case data by comprehensively considering financial statements and also related policies. This is highly relevant to my auditing internship at Ernst & Young. At EY, I examined the operational situation of a company through financial statements, tracing production costs, revenue recognition, depreciation, and cash flows in the supply chain. This taught me how fundamental analysis actually works in practice and how operational risk, accounting policies, and also working capital pressures can shape a company's financial reality factors, which the dataset wouldn't appear unless we know where to look at it. When I took those insights back to quantitative modeling, everything changed. Instead of treating data as isolated numbers, I started building models that align with the company's economic story. For example, I learned how to incorporate production capacity and inventory turnover into the signal factors for industrial companies. I understood how logistic bottlenecks could cause temporary mispricing, and besides, I also gained the ability to validate a statistical anomaly by checking whether it made fundamental sense. This challenge taught me that the quantitative finance is not just about coding or math. It's about building systems that can survive the real-world frictions, accounting distortions, and industry-specific dynamics. The purely data-driven model may look elegant, but the model that integrates business fundamentals is more reliable. Ultimately, I want to continue combining the quantitative modeling with accounting and financial analysis to build a more reliable and more resilient investment systems. I want to work in quantitative investment where I can apply those math tools to solve the real-world market problems grounded in a deep understanding of how companies actually operate. Thank you.